Okay, I am back again, still working on 3 sisters, 1 fro. You see 2 of the sisters are, sort of nearing completion to a degree. And I don't know if you remember last video, I told you that I was running out of slip. So what I need to do is go ahead and set that up so that the slip can start being prepared, or I'll prepare it so that it can be the consistency that I need once I'm ready to start sculpting. If my voice is going in and out, it's because I was looking for a tool because I realized there's something that I need to slice off. So I'm going to do that real quick because it's really, really, really bothering me. All right, I just used this palette knife tool to slice into an area of the fro that's not needed, that was coming down too far and bulging out. I'll remove that excess at another time with this tool. Or, you know what? I've grabbed it now. I might as well move it. You might have noticed that I put these two on the far end. I'm going to have to adjust this a little bit because it's a little too wobbly for my comfort because all of the weight is just on this left side right now. So I'm just pulling it in some. Now it's much more stable. And I'm just going to take and scrape the excess part off that I just shaved off with the palette knife, as I just showed you. And I always tell myself, well, I'll do this later, but once I pick up the tool, I'm going to end up doing it right then, because why not? I mean, the tool's already in your hand. You might as well get it done, and then you can focus completely on the other part. So I'm going to show you the slip, and then we're going to come in here and start to clean her up, get her form more correct, get in here in these back areas for her, because after a while we want to be able to leave this alone because there's going to be another figure right here. So I tried my best to clean off the board that it's on so that it won't stick or have all these different little particles on the underside. So I'm going to move this back over to the end of the table. Here's my slip bowl. I keep the plate on top of it because that keeps the moisture in. As you can see, it's all dried out. So what I did off the camera was I took all of the dried particles of clay, this type of clay, 609 Miller clay, that I keep in another bag, and I'll show you that bag. It's pretty full. I poured clay, the crumpled pieces of clay, all of these little pieces that come off when I'm sculpting. Those I let dry out. They go into this bag. And as needed for slip, I'll open this bag and pour some out. I try to keep it away from me and as close to the bowl as possible because I don't want it to kick up dust. Because again, they say that clay dust is very bad for you. And because I'm a knucklehead and I'm not working with a mask, I don't want to create an excess. So I'm done with this bag for right now. And off camera, sorry if I already mentioned this, I told you I get sidetracked easily. And then I'm not young, and I've always been forgetful. And of course, that's only getting worse as I age. But off camera, these pieces that I took from the other bag and poured into this bag, I put a shelf on my lap, took a rolling pin, and went over it until it became very, very fine. Because you want it to be fine so that once you add your water, it'll dissolve into the clay very quickly, and the water is not working overtime trying to break down large pieces. So as you can see, I just poured water in there. I usually start by pouring it just enough to cover the top. And I'll mix it around a little bit. See how that looks like oatmeal or granola? I can also go ahead and knock some of these particles off of the side. They're not going to dissolve nicely, but I just like for my bowl to be a little bit cleaner, especially on these edges, because I'm going to start scraping off excess clay when I start applying the slip anyway. So I don't want to put clay on top of clay. I'll try to just give it a clean edge to end up doing that and scraping off at some point. Let me move this a little bit. So all I'm doing is using this tool to scrape the dried clay off of the edge of the bowl. Now I'm going back in with the same tool. It's the consistency of a really thick oatmeal right now, and that's not at all what I want. So I'm going to add considerably more water. And see if once I mix this around a little bit more, if it starts looking closer to the consistency I want to end up with. And right now I'm scraping pretty slowly because every piece of clay has not been absorbed into the water yet, and there's still the potential for dust to fly up into my nostrils, into my respiratory system, into my lungs. I guess that's how it works. So just trying to avoid that by moving slowly until everything is saturated all the way through to the bottom. And then I just start slowly folding it in on itself, scooping underneath and bringing it around. What I'm doing right now is just mashing it down so that it's more so level, because I just want to recover it, let the water soak in while I do something else, and then I'll come back, check the consistency again. Hopefully it won't be too watery. If it is, then I'll add some more of the clay that I broke down with the rolling pin into it. Once again, just using this tool to scrape the sides, make the sides a little clean. And I can always take a towel and wipe that off too. Matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. I told you I love using Viva towels because they're very cloth-like in texture, and I like that. And that's what the side of the plate looks like now. Just taking and leveling it out a little bit more. All right, now I'm going to go ahead, cover this up, let the water do its job, move this water bottle out of the way, return the tools to the top of the plate. I took them all off and put them to the side because I knew I had to take the top off to make the slip. Some of you call it slurry. I have a tendency to bounce between the two. I hated the name slurry and refused to use it for like a month, and now all of a sudden I find that I bounce between the two. That's the weirdest thing to me. All right, so I've gotten the tools out of the way. I'm just going to take this scraper tool and just get some of this dried clay out of my face. And then that's the same clay that's going to end up going into the big bag for use later for making more slip. So I usually just scrape it to the end of the table, out of the way of an area that I know I'm not going to end up working in. So now I'm grabbing the rotating table from the bottom just because this cutting board that they are placed on is not uniform. They are leaning over on the left, so I moved the cutting board closer to me so that once I start adding the clay of the other figure, it'll be a lot more balanced. So now I'm pulling them in, and I'm going to start taking a look at homegirl here first because she's been drying so long. Oh, another thing, I could not remember before if I hollowed this area out, and I'm pretty sure that I did not. And guess what? If I'm wrong and I take this piece off, no biggie, because you know, we'll just put it back on. There's a little twist in my wire that I'm trying to get out. That wasn't very successful. I don't know. This has been drying for a minute. I hope this is not going to be an ordeal trying to get through this. I think the best thing to do is approach it from the bottom. I'm just wiggling to get it further in. I want it even further in than that, so I'm just going to have to be careful in maneuvering. So I tuck the wire just under the hand there, and now that I'm past that delicate arm, I'm just pulling inward so that it goes underneath. And I'm going to bring it right back under there. You can see that's where the wire is for here, and this is where the wire is for here, and I think that's fine. So what I'm going to do, this is not even, it's best when it's even. So now, see the wire is here, the other wire is right there. It's already started slicing in just from that little bit of movement. So all I'm going to do now is brace my hand here and start pulling up, slicing into this clay. This is a sloppy cut. I'm going to have to do a lot of rebuilding right here. And again, it's okay. It's just that I let the clay sit too long and it's not as malleable as I wanted it to be. So I'm just trying to brace my hand on her knee so that she stops moving. And this is a really hard tug that I'm going to have to give. I'm trying not to because I don't want to pull her forward and away from the foundation I put here. And I also don't want to lop off that little part of her skirt. So I'm just trying to figure out how to hold it, keep her steady. And I'm not doing a good job. Watch I end up hitting myself in the face on camera when this just gives way. All right. I didn't do that. Like I said, didn't do that well at all. That's a part of her leg that I'll have to put back on. And that's the piece. Very sloppy. See that? Very, very sloppy cut. I just pulled that piece off because I'm just going to take a bit of slip and apply that there right now. Now, I haven't mixed this up again, and it's fine. I want it to be really thick just to put this piece back into place. I'm taking and pressing this. There's a lot of slip on this knife, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. So there you see the slice that I made. I'm going to return the top to that plate. And another video, I was looking all over for my needle tool, and it was right there on the plate. I'm very blind. And I got glasses, and I'm still blind. I'm wetting this up just because I'm going to have to hollow that out, and I just want to make it a little more pliable. Sitting it there. The water's going to soak in, make that a little better to work with. And wet that part up too. And we go back to what we know, which is, I don't know what this measurement is, but I call it what I was taught through YouTube University, which is a pinky nail finger width all the way around, leaving that pinky nail finger width border. And now that's my guideline for where I need to hollow out. I usually have a tendency to start with this tool, the round loop, or the flip side, which is the triangular shaped loop. And I'm just going to start going in. All right, we're going to stop right here for now, and I'll come back a little bit later. This is how far I've got.